Yo, Dragon, I just bought my first Gary Vee book game NFT.
Yep, I did too, and I'm not really sure what that means.
Well, let's make it simple. NFTs are changing the world, and change can feel complicated and scary. But listen, you don't need a computer science degree. You don't need to learn how to code. You just need practical skills to win.
If you are here, you are in the 1% of humans that are preparing for this major cultural shift. We're going to keep it fun. We're going to keep it light. We're going to make it practical. Welcome to NFTs Made Simple.
Just a reminder, we're not financial advisors. This is not financial advice, and you should do your own research.
Hey, let's get into it.
Yo, so Dragon, we just bought book game NFTs from Gary Vaynerchuk, the king, the Pied Piper of NFTs. And if you don't know what a book game is, let me just kind of read from Gary Vee's website, because this is kind of a little bit of an advanced type of NFT here. So Gary Vee defines book games as the book games are a first of its kind layer 2 NFT created by Gary Vaynerchuk, linking to his best-selling book, 12 and a Half. Connect your wallet and play. So I just kind of want to break down a little bit of what this means and why this is, I think, important for authors. We've been talking a lot about some of the benefits and some of the practical applications of NFTs. And so what Gary Vaynerchuk did was he said, hey, I've got a new book that's releasing in, I think it was December or November. If you want special access, if you buy 12 books, you're going to get a special NFT token, a book game token, which can be used for other benefits in Vaynerchuk's world. And by doing this, he was essentially able to crowdfund his book. And it's a bestseller before it even launched, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So now we're kind of stuck in this time where we're trying to decide what the heck are we going to do with these NFTs. And my friend Dragon and I here, we actually bought them. So let's kind of talk about it, Dragon. Let's talk about what our experience was like buying our first book game tokens.
Well, I mean, let's be transparent about it too, because, what I find interesting about our podcast and getting all the feedback is that our listeners are very much like us, but Mark and I are just putting a little bit more time and effort, and we're perhaps a little bit ahead of them. So, because I hear a lot of people that are kind of getting ready to dive in, and we know that this is a big thing now. Fear of missing out probably was the stimulant for this. And if this ends up being like a big mess, it's Mark's fault, by the way, because he's the one I didn't even know about it until he told me about it. But
it's hyped like crazy, right? Everyone's talking about it. And, we can talk a little bit more about this, but when Gary Vee launched his first NFT, Series 1, back last year, like, the value of those is like just exploded.
That's what I mean. And that's that fear of missing out is, we saw that happen. We said, I'm not buying a little pencil drawing of a raccoon for money, but then we saw those little things, become things. And then we learned about utility and VCon and all that stuff. So because that happened, it validated us being interested in not wanting to miss it again. And this whole concept of layer 2. And what I see Gary's doing is he's taking all of that first run and he's making a more advanced version of his little pencil drawings. So, what I'm trying to say is that somebody that is influential like that, and this could happen with the Bored Ape Yacht Club, or they could have like Baby Apes or something like that. And as long as it's affiliated with something that was successful, you're gonna take a look at it. So that's what prompted Mark and I, because we're looking how to get our feet wet in this and stop talking about it and start walking about it. So we decided, this was the first step before we actually did it, we decided that we were going to do it. So then the conversation, this is the experience of it, was like, how do we do it? Just deciding you're going to buy an NFT doesn't mean that you have it, because you gotta go through some sort of an obstacle course sometimes to get it.
You got to set up your wallet to this website and to this website, while all that time navigating, making sure that you're not screwing up, that you're not giving out your wallet address to the wrong bad actors. So there's a little bit, and I think that's why this podcast, Dragon, is so important. because we're going to make sure that you have the right foundation so that you can avoid those pitfalls.
Yeah,
but it was a bit of a challenge. It took me a few days to actually figure this out.
Case in point, if you're coming in and this is your first time listening to our podcast and you're hearing us talk about things that may make us sound like we know what we're talking about, go back to the first episode and listen to those, and you'll see that this is a journey. Mark and I have put the time in. One thing I learned from, following Gary Vee is he says he put at least 90 hours of research into this before he did anything. So we're doing the same thing and you're coming along. But what was funny about the experience is, Mark and I are starting to, and our wives would not like to hear this, but we're starting to talk to each other late at night now and stuff because, of all this stuff. And Mark's like, dude, I'm about to do this. And he got me excited enough that I said, screw it. And I spent an extra hour trying to figure it out. And he actually said, oh man, I can't figure this out. And he didn't buy it. So I ended up buying it. And then my partner here didn't buy it yet. And I'm like, oh shit, what did I just do? But we're both in and we both connected the wallet. What I found interesting about it, Mark, because we've talked a lot about on the show about Ethereum and gas fees, and there's all this stuff going on in that realm. Ethereum 2 coming out, and now we're finding out that Ethereum hypothetically might not be as decentralized as we thought. So we'll talk about it on subsequent shows. But what was interesting, the first thing I thought is that Gary is using this, other service, Immutable X, to buy and sell the tokens using Ethereum, but getting rid of the gas fee problem. So there's a lot of interesting things going on, intermediary things going on to fix some problems. Did you notice that?
Well, yeah. So let me expand on this a little bit just so we're keeping everyone up to date, right? So we had in a previous episode explained the value of marketplaces, meaning where can you actually buy NFTs, right? OpenSea right now is like the big one. That's like, your eBay of NFTs, if you would, right? Everyone's buying and selling NFTs on OpenSea, right? But there's a lot of these marketplaces that are popping up, a lot of them. And I do just want to say that you don't necessarily have to go to a marketplace to purchase an NFT. For example, when Dragon and I meet up at a conference in the future, I could say, hey, here's some Ethereum, send me the NFT. So you can still do transactions one-to-one, which is important. However, most of the transactions are done on these marketplaces. Okay. Similarly, I can meet up with Dragon and sell him some ice skates and he can pay me in cash, right? So the fundamentals are still the same there, which by the way, my wife is trying to sell some ice skates. If anybody wants some, DM me right away.
Does she accept Bitcoin?
No, but I will. I'll accept Bitcoin. I'll make that happen for you. So Gary Vee is not putting these book games NFTs on OpenSea, the big dog. He's putting them on this Immutable X platform. So what you need to do, and we've already talked about this in the past, you need to transfer your Ethereum onto your Metamask wallet. That's your private wallet. And then you need to transfer the Ethereum from your private wallet on Metamask to Immutable X. Okay. So this is where I got screwed up. Just kind of, just give you a little bit of context before I explain my story here, my experience. So I'm going through Immutable X and I finally find a book game token that I'm interested in. I said, this looks cool. It was like 0.34 ETH. I said, this one looks great. I'm excited. It speaks to me. This is for me. This is the book game token for me. And I go and I transfer my Ethereum over to Immutable X, the marketplace. And it says that it's done, but I'm not seeing the Ethereum show up. And so I'm sweating here because 0.34 ETH is that's like $1,000. You know what I'm saying? That's a big chunk of change. And I'm sweating because I don't see the transfer going through, but it told me it went through. I go to my MetaMask wallet and it says that it went through, but I'm not seeing
I went through the same exact thing. I'm like, did I just take my thousands of dollars and just put them in some sort of hidden metaverse key thing?
Poof. And so I'm getting a hard sweat going on here. So I'm like, I got to relax. So I go, I take a shower and I come back. And now the Ethereum has showed up. It took, 10, 15 minutes for it to show up. But by the time the Ethereum had cleared, the price of that NFT had already increased. So I didn't have enough Ethereum in my wallet to actually make the purchase. So I'm
that's when you decided to go to bed.
That's what I was like, forget. Yeah. Yeah. And then I wake up in the morning and Dragon says to me,
I bought one.
I bought one. And I'm like, great.
But here's what's interesting. And we never knew this in our previous episodes because we had never actually done this. So we talked about this idea of having cryptocurrency like Ethereum and then keeping it in a wallet like Metamask. And I thought, then I could use that money in my wallet and buy stuff. So once we actually committed, this was the first time that I had to actually go connect my wallet. That was the first step. Connect my MetaMask wallet to this Immutable X website, which was a little scary. Like I was just thinking that Immutable X is just some sort of like metaverse vacuum that's just going to clean my wallet out, right? Like I just all these steps through, and I got to be honest with you. And if Gary Vee is listening to this, all the while, and this just shows why it's so important to be working with people that you respect and trust.
Yes.
I just said Gary would not screw me, right?
Right.
So once I connected my wallet, then the next thing, to Mark's point, is I had to allocate money from the wallet to compensate for the purchase that I wanted to make. So, mine was a little bit more expensive. It was like 0.8 something ETH, which is like almost $2,000, which at the time I didn't think. I was like, I didn't feel like I was spending $2,000 on
feels like Monopoly money,
picture
kind
of a pig. I thought I was just, I thought it was like my son buying a skin on Fortnite. I'm like, 0.8, that's a deal, right? And then all of a sudden I bought this thing and I had to sign for it and everything, but then I had it. And I got to tell you something, man. I wasn't thinking, for all of you that are thinking about having your first NFT, like this is, I popped my proverbial cherry here and I own this thing and I'm looking at it and I'm like, what is it that I own? And I absorbed all the information that we've spoken about here and it was authenticated and it's mine. And I'm like, I'm in the game. And I kind of I took a screenshot of it. I have it in my wallet. I showed it to Mark and I'm like, I feel like I matter a little bit more in this game now. It's like, I own an NFT and immediately after that, and this is funny. It's kind of like cryptocurrency. It's like, I don't know how many times you guys look at your Coinbase wallet or your MetaMask to see if it's gone up or down, but I do that about 60 times a day. And now I've got this NFT and now I'm looking to see if it's going up in price, but it's mine and it's not listed for resale. So now what I'm doing now, a little bit obsessively, and Mark and I were just laughing about this, is I'm looking at the other people that own the same NFT as me and seeing what they're selling it for. So it's very, very exciting. I'm happy I did it, but we need to do some research and work a little bit more because I did it because I thought it was a good idea rather than really, really understood what I was doing.
Yeah. And to your point, Dragon, I just kind of feel like walking up to random strangers on the street and being like, hey, I got this NFT.
I want to make it my profile picture or something.
It's pretty cool, right? Yeah, it's pretty cool, even though it's just kind of small potatoes, I guess, in the grand scheme of thing. But it feels cool to get in the game.
Hey, what's up? Mark here. Just want to take you on a quick break with a resource I think is really going to help you. Some of the concepts that we're covering in the show sound really complicated and really technical. But listen, you don't need to code. You don't need to get a master's degree in computer science. All you need to do is have the right resources. We're going to make it simple. We're going to make it easy. I've got a link below. Go to www.nftsmadesimple.com. That's nftsmadesimple.com. You're going to get a free cheat sheet there. It's 100% free. What are you waiting for? Go get the cheat sheet. We're going to break down some of the key definitions in ways that are really practical and really simple. Go to nftsmadesimple.com right now to get your free cheat sheet. That's nftsmadesimple.com. All right, let's get back into the show.
I kind of want to finish how I got from getting frustrated going to sleep to actually getting one into my wallet. So firstly, I think that's probably a good strategy. If you're frustrated, if you're unsure, just get a good night's sleep. You don't need to buy it now. Things are moving quick, but there's nothing wrong with just getting some rest, stepping away.
Mark, the price might go up.
Well, it will, and it did. So what happened for me is I woke up the next day and I was like, okay, I'm going to dedicate another hour and we're going to figure this freaking thing out. Dragon got one. I didn't get the one I wanted. I'm going to figure this thing out. So what I did is I decided on what I was willing to spend, right? What is my budget? And I saw that there were quite a few NFTs that were inside that budget, okay? And then I went to this website called imxrarity.io. I'll put a link down below, imxrarity.io. because buying an NFT in a collection like this, there's currently 125,000 book game tokens in circulation. Okay. And so you really want, there's more value in the rarity. Obviously you want an NFT that speaks to you and I guess reaffirms or is part of your identity and your personal culture that you've got going on. But you also want something that's rare. The more rare, the better. And people just don't have any idea how to price these things out right now. So at imxrarity.io, what you can do is you find all the book games tokens that are on the market. Okay, it'll show you all the book games tokens that are on Immutable X, right? The marketplace where you buy them. And I just sorted by price from least expensive to most expensive. And what it does is it shows you the actual rarity of the item. And so I was able to find an item that was like much less expensive than other items, but was also much more rare. Okay. And so I found the item that I liked. I said, okay, we're in this budget. I transferred the Ethereum over to Immutable X. It took about 30 minutes, and that entire time I was sweating bullets. I was sweating bullets because I saw the Ethereum leave my wallet, but not in my MetaMask wallet, and not show up in my Immutable X wallet. So I'm sweating. I'm like, I did it again. Oops, I did it again. Britney Spears style. It's all gone. But lo and behold, it transferred over. And then I went to buy the token that I wanted to buy. I was like, yes, I'm going to buy it. Wait a minute. It's not working. Why isn't it working? It's giving me this error message, something to the effect of try again later, try again later.
This is so funny. We went through the same experience.
I'm like, here we go again. Try number 2. I still can't buy the token that I want. So I go over to Gary Vee's website, the Book Games website, and it says, please be aware there is a known error in transferring Book Games tokens to L1 wallets. I'm like, here we freaking go. I'm like, Gary, what are you doing, bro? You're going with this program, Immutable X, and it doesn't even work. It doesn't even work. So I was like, let's just get another good night's sleep. Let's just get another good night's sleep. So anyway, I woke up the next day and was able to buy a Book Games token. It was still within my budget. It wasn't the one that I really wanted, Dragon, because that one had already sold, but I was able to get one that I liked, that was in budget, and was also higher on the rarity scale. So that's how we went from I'm going to buy one to actually buying one. It took 3 days, lots of trial and error, but I feel like I accomplished something now. I feel good about it. I don't know.
I would say, I'm excited at the idea that maybe I'll make some money. And I actually listed mine for a significant profit, and we'll see what happens. And I see some people selling the same thing that I have for like ridiculous amounts of money, but it doesn't mean it's worth that, right? But if I step back, for those of you that are kind of like waiting, and we're not encouraging anybody to go do what we just did. We thought about this for at least 5 minutes. But what I'm saying, the greatest value for me probably was one of my identity. I felt, and this is attached to this amazing job that Gary Vee has done at creating a community and a movement. Like, I love the idea of knowing that I'm part of it. So, we talk a lot about utilities that are attached to, NFTs that are attached to utilities, like getting to VCon and things like that. But there's the community concept, like the Bored Ape Yacht Club and stuff like that. Like, I love the idea that I own something, because it's just a picture, but I like the idea that I own something and I've invested in this community, and it feels good. Now, I don't know what our listeners are thinking. Like, some of them are saying like, yeah, I get you. Some are saying like, Dragon's lost his mind. He's been conned into this. But I'm just telling you how I feel, and I'm excited about it. And I'm more excited now about NFTs than ever. And you'll see in subsequent episodes, like, it's just crazy what's going on out there. So I'm stoked. So I thank you, Mark, for getting me excited about this.
You're welcome. And, to your point, now when you actually buy into something, you do feel like you're part of something bigger. Like, when I go out and I wear my FAU Owls hat, people will say, oh, hoot, hoot, go Owls. And there is something there, but it's like the game hasn't even started yet, Dragon, which is why I think that this is the right time to be to be learning, to getting comfortable, to kind of dipping your foot in the water, your toe in the water. Because these types of experiences that you and I had and actually trying to buy an NFT are going to get smoother. They're going to get easier as things become more mainstream, as the kinks get worked out. But I really do believe that there's an early mover advantage, not necessarily in actually purchasing, although I think it's probably a good idea to be thinking about that, but just understanding what's happening and incorporating at least some of your everyday or weekly time into keeping up. And that's, I think, what's great about our show here, brother, is that you can pop in for a half hour and you can really feel like, okay, I'm not falling behind. I'm actually surfing this wave.
And, you know, just to put a bow on that, I love the idea of strengthening and equipping myself and becoming more knowledgeable about this stuff, like how to connect a wallet to something and what that even means. Because the real thing that I want to just, first of all, everybody that's listening to this episode, whether you knew about book games or not, now you do. So you can see how, and Mark and I just told you our experience, so you can see how that affects you viscerally, like what it is that your curiosity is struck and stuff like that. But what I want to remind everybody is that the NFT that I bought was from somebody that bought it earlier and sold it for more money. So I just want to, that's what I really, really took note of, is I'm thinking, man, I wish I had bought it when he did, because you can see what he bought it for and he resold it for. And that's what the next person that buys mine will say as well. So becoming empowered and learning these basic things will also equip you, always be smart about it, with the ability to get into these things earlier rather than find out about them and then spend all this time like Mark and I did trying to figure out how to connect our wallets and stuff like that. So all the people that are winning the most are the ones that have spent the time learning about it. And that's what we're going to do together.
That's right, brother. So great. This was a lot of fun. Looking forward to the next episode where we're going to talk about more ways that you can make NFTs simple in your life. Hit subscribe. Yeah. See ya. All right, let's go to the next episode.